Okay, folks, let's take a good look here. Say, oh my God. All right, folks, there's no lot to do here, but let's hear what the sister has to say today.
That is plaguing our nation.
In what way is it plaguing the nation?
An invasion from Mexico. We have lawlessness. We have people that think that they can just sneak their family across our border and demand the same rights and entitlements as American citizens over and over, year after year, decade after decade. There's no end in sight to it, okay? I live in Arizona. I'm also a border state, okay? And we're fighting hard to make sure we don't end up like you.
Like us.
We don't want to be a sanctuary, anything.
So I understand the sanctuary thing. Let's stay on one topic. So you brought up the plight of illegal immigrants. I mean, we know statistics show over literally decades that illegal immigrants can do less crime than native-born citizens.
$3,000.
Dreamers are some of the most model citizens. They're more likely to own a home, more likely to...
3,000 Americans murdered by the hands of an illegal immigrant. So you tell me, which American citizen are you willing to sacrifice to let an illegal in? Because me, I'm not willing to sacrifice any citizen for an illegal alien.
Well, I would make the case that by spending $60 billion on a wall, we are sacrificing people because that money could be spent on something else.
Me or you? Is this your interview or mine?
So this isn't Anderson Cooper. If you say some BS, I'm not simply going to let it slide and then move on to the next thing.
That's what I'm saying. 63,000.
Where is that coming from?
Since 2001, 63,000 Americans have been murdered or killed at the hands of illegals. That doesn't count the rapes. This is my interview. Beat it.
As you're watching this at home, feel free to fact check that.
Yeah, feel free to fact check it. Pull out a phone right now. Fact check it. Beat it. This is my interview. Beat it. I have no voice. I've been screaming for a week.
Okay, so I really have to ask. So I know that you've been saying to people...
My God, the link will be down below. By all means, do watch the rest of this Comedy Central. I don't want to be mean to Americans, man. But if you actually go to a rally where if you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump or you're, pro whatever or anti whatever, this is how they argue Americans. That's why I tell a lot of people that there really is no point to talking to Americans because Americans as a whole do act like this. Let me start by saying this. Americans need to learn how to have a conversation dialogue. This is actually a very typical individual. When you get into these rallies, most of them are, regardless if you're anti or pro-Trump, whatever, they override your position. They want to take over the conversation. You heard how she's, it's my conversation. Who's doing the interview? It's my conversation. It's my conference. Beat it. You see, that lady, that's very symbolic because if you ever gone to these rallies, which I have, you see a lot of those type of people, a lot, regardless anti or pro Trump. It is it's really like that. There's no conversation. It's just I'm right, you're wrong, and there's no dialogue, no neutral mode of any talk. It's just I'm right, you're wrong. And this is, the link will be down below. By all means, please, by all means, do watch the rest of the clip. And another thing too, man. I'm to this lady holding the phone. For a lady that is losing her voice and just holding the phone, oh my God, I'm having a selfie going on here. Why in the world are you adjusting it? If you looked at around 340 and 350 of this video, she's posting herself like she's ready for take a picture. I'm looking good here. I'm like, man. Oh boy. And look, and on the other side, bro, I'm not a big fan of the Young Turks. I'm really not. Like, I do watch a lot of their programming. I'm not a big fan of theirs because even though I totally disagree a lot what the Young Turks um, shows they in news, the way they present the news is just, to me, is just literally horrible. There is some valid points on what the guy said, and also there's some valid points on what the woman said. But that's not what I'm really touchy about. What I don't understand, and this is something we have to talk about when it comes to our favorite group, my favorite group of them all, Mexican Americans, is in the very beginning, you got a Mexican American saying that he ain't racist, he loves people. I know Trump is no, I've been persecuted by being racist. He is saying all of this stuff. And I'm sorry to say this, man, I cannot take a guy seriously when you're saying that he didn't do nothing wrong. I've been targeted for racism while you are wearing like the Star of David, a Jewish symbol around your neck and in your chest. What in the world are you wearing that retarded as symbolic Star of David? Why? And yet he is saying, well, and this is a big problem with them. A lot of Mexican Americans I'm sorry to say this to them. These people are literally lost. Whether they're the Pro La Raza, Aslan crowd that have no clue about Mexico, or these people who have no clue about Mexico either, because I'll tell you why. Because if this guy actually talks about corruption in Mexico and how bad Mexico is and the Mexican government, all this and that, you do realize that Israel was helping Mexico spy on their citizens and journalists, with several that end up being dead. You don't hear that in the media in the United States, but that actually did happen. But yet this guy's going to wear the Star of David. Not to mention the issues that's going on with a lot of countries have with the state of Israel. But see, they don't want to talk about any of that stuff. Now, here's the thing about the guy who does the talking here is this. Listen, I hate to break the news to you guys, but if Donald Trump really cared about people, why is he what? You have to pay $30,000 for a plate to see him make a speech. And this girl said, "Yeah, I'm willing to do it for $30,000. If it's your whole paycheck or your whole income, oh yeah, I'll do it." That's how brainwashed these people are. I would never do that for not anyone. I mean, this is insane. Like, these people really are just that borderline retarded. Oh, I like it because we gotta build the wall. The wall that I'm a border. I live in a border state, Arizona. And look, when I hear stuff talks like that, I have no problem when people talk about issues. If you're against immigration, that is fine by me. You want to build a wall, that's fine by me. If you want to call ICE, we're going to call ICE, we're going to deport. I don't care. Go right ahead. I really don't care. This is the problem I have with people. Number one, if you really believe it will stop the crime and immigration and, murdering and raping and all that stuff, it's not going to stop. Because those things exist in every society around the world. And the thing is that, well, we built the wall, it's going to stop migration, when in reality, it's not. The fact of the matter is that, and this is actually kind of true, no one talks about this, is that the vast majority of illegals go by overstay visas and work permits and visas and all that stuff. They overstay a lot of stuff. That's why they're in the United States. People actually believe that all these illegals are just trying to cross through the desert. Like, the people that do that, okay, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, because they do exist. The people that cross the desert, they're really poor people. The people that cross the border through, like, really walk through the desert and all that stuff, that people have imagery of, and that is a very small percentage. It's a very small percentage. Most of the people, they go by planes. And the thing is that when you tell this to people, Americans don't want to hear that. They say we gotta build this big walls, gotta stop the drug cartels. When in reality, the drug cartels, like I said before many times, they got planes. They got airstrips in their own backyard. And they got airstrips that work with the United States. They work hand in hand because they work with each other. I don't understand why people cannot see that obvious point. Like, use common sense. Why would drug cartels would walk to the border and climb over the wall to deliver drugs when they can go by a plane? Even trucks are not even used that much. I mean, are there drugs smuggling through trucks? Yeah, there are. But the reality is the vast majority of them go by planes. Where do you think all the drugs from Asia come? Through planes. Where do you think all the drugs from the Middle East? Through planes. They come through planes. You're not going to talk about that. And then we got to talk about the murder. Now, I don't know I don't know, my ears hurting here. She said since 2000 or 2001, she said 300,000 murdered. Now she started saying 63,000. I don't know if I heard that right or wrong. I think I heard that, 300,000. Then she said 63,000 or 62,000. And then they make, and there's this invasion going on. The invasion from Mexico. Which, again, this is a problem with Americans that don't understand this. Here's the problem with all this. Since 2000, the number of immigrants from Mexico have been dropping. In 2015, before Trump even showed up, 2015, the first time ever, more Americans went to Mexico than Mexicans went to the United States. But you're not going to hear that. You're just not going to hear that. There are more non-Mexicans crossing through the USA-Mexico border than there's actual Mexicans. And even those numbers have been dropping the last decades. That's a fact. I don't know how to say that, but that's actually a fact. Now, here's the thing about people who say, well, the majority of them are Mexicans. See, this is the part that I try to tell Americans. People don't realize this. But in Mexico, when these migrants come through Mexico, as much as people talk about how horrible Mexico is, these people sign up to be part of these programs. Will they register themselves in Mexico? So when they do that, they go crossing the border to USA-Mexico border, and guess what? When they get caught or get deported, where do they tell you? The guy could be from Guatemala, El Salvador, Ecuador, Colombia, all these places. But when you tell people, when they go to ICE and say, well, no, I'm just Mexican, they get deported back to Mexico. They don't get deported back to the original country. They get deported back to Mexico. Because why? Because there'll be less traveling going back. That's why. That's why when people say, well, most of them Mexicans cross the border, I keep trying to tell people, no, they're not. They register themselves as Mexicans, so they deport back to Mexico, and because it's actually, a shorter voyage back to the border. If you deport the guy from Ecuador, they get to travel all the way through Central America, then to Mexico. No, that's what the Ecuadorian will say. No, I'm actually Mexican. Now, do Americans know the difference? No, they don't. They assume anyone that crosses the U.S. and Mexico border is Mexican. That's why there's the illusion, the idea that, oh my God, so many Mexicans are crossing over the border. They want to invade. They want to do all this stuff when that's not even true. Now, this is the part, this is another thing too about crime. Listen. I said this before, I say this again. If you believe every single migrant or illegal immigrant or alien, you want to talk about it, is crossing the border and is going to commit a crime, and someone's going to say, well, they already committed a crime. No, I'm talking about a legit crime, an assault, something like that. If you believe that and you want to close the border, that's fine by me. I personally don't care. Okay? But the reality is the vast majority of people that migrate to the United States, they're not going to commit a crime. What I mean by a crime, I'm talking about an assault or anything to do with like an attack or something like that. They're not going to do that. But within migration, you have bad apples, which is understandable. The thing is that they zoom in the bad apples and they zoom in and they blow it up as an epidemic. That's the problem that I have there. If you have a problem with immigration, you can sit there and say, you know what, I don't like these people. We need jobs. We don't have enough money to take care of these people, deport them back. That's fine if you say that. I have no problem with you saying that. If you believe that, that's fine. But if you really believe that every single person that crosses that border is wanting to kill Americans, you're really just that stupid. You're not that important. I mean, they're literally comparing themselves to the Iraq War. Like, they really believe that every single illegal immigrant is going to try and kill Americans. They're out to get you. This all goes back to the hysteria of that they have this belief that Mexico wants to invade and want to kill all whitey. I mean, this is ridiculously stupid. When you have at least 1.2 million, Americans, even white Americans, living there, and they're not being murdered or massacred. Some of these people are literally comparing themselves to the Boers and white South Africans in South Africa. Like, are you serious? And they're being invaded. Listen, I'm not trying to be mean, but a lot of these migrants are not educated. They're really low class. How in the hell is low class, uneducated people going to mastermind a plot to invade the United States? You have to explain me that. And you know what they don't tell you is that half of the crimes that they commit, like, there's a murderings and there's the rapings going on. Half of the crimes come from drunk driving, which is understandable. And I feel bad for those people, and they should get deported. I agree with all of that. I have no problem. You deport every single one. I have no problem. Here's my problem with all of this. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know how to say this to you, but drunk driving in the United States is a problem overall across all borders in the United States. It's a big problem. The fact that when I look at the media, especially like conservative media, they'll take one incident. They'll say an illegal immigrant, drunk driving, killed somebody, hit and run. They'll blow it up, and they'll say this is an epidemic going on. While at the same time, you got 3 white guys, 4 white guys, 5 Hispanic American guys doing the exact same thing in the exact same night, reporting several different states, yet they don't get zoomed in and say this is an epidemic going on. Or maybe it's not really an illegal issue. Maybe it's a drinking issue. Because that's really is what I'm concerned about. People are forgetting the fact that these people are drunk going into the vehicle. Maybe, just maybe, it's the beer. I mean, this is the thing that I keep trying to tell people. They make it out that there's illegals going into the car, trying to find Americans and killing them, trying to kill them. You got people believing this stuff. And what's even more comical about this is that almost half of illegal immigrants that do commit crimes is mostly towards other Hispanic Americans. And people are saying, well, what? We're protecting Americans. No, you don't. No, come on. Most of the crimes are committed, and this is something that people don't understand. Most illegals that commit crimes are towards Americans. What they're not telling you is that those Americans are actually Hispanic Americans, and the other half is towards other illegals. Most illegal immigrants are not even raping and murdering Americans as much as they believe they are. This is the problem I have with Americans. I haven't. Man, this is tough, man. This is really, really tough. Like, there's people that really believe that illegals are coming into their community and want to murder and rape them. How many illegals are actually trying to kill white people or black people? Like, how many? It's not that many. In fact, if anything, they're more likely to kill me than any of you guys. And then on the flip side, regarding to the guy here, look, he says, one thing I can't stand about the Young Turks, he's trying to make it into a racial issue, man. Dude, stop that. I mean, it's over with. Stop with the whole thing. Trump is a racist thing. It's not going to work, man. Stop that. That's the one thing I can't stand about the Young Turks. They twist things and try to make it into a racial issue when it's really not should be. I mean, dude, Trump is not racist. He's just a retard. I mean, this is tough, man. This is tough. I mean, I'm sorry, man. I can't stand this shit. This is how Americans talk. Americans argue like this all the time. Americans overall do this. This is why I tell people, try your best to stay away and stop talking. Not talk, but try to stay away from having a conversation because they're going to do stuff like this all the time.